Yo, what up, everybody? It's your boy, Royce, the voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And how are y'all doing on this? I always forget the date. It's the 18th. It is Monday the 18th. You know what I'm saying? We had just got through with the Easter weekend, and we just got through with like a little brief show that we had yesterday. And I'm glad y'all tuned in yesterday. And I'm glad that y'all tuned in today. For those that are coming in, thank you. For those that are watching, thank you. For those that are sharing, thank you. I would really like everybody to please share when you have the time. Actually, the time is right now. How about that? How about everybody share this? Because you guys, we got a good show. You know, we got a pretty good show today. You know what I'm saying? We're going to try to keep it about an hour or less, you know what I mean? Because we're just going to really tackle some things right now. First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody here in Tullahoma, everybody here in Coffee County that's been supporting the Royce's Rant Show Network. You know what I'm saying? Since 2019, since we started going live, doing pre-recorded things, stuff like that, call-ins. I want to appreciate everybody that's been sending stars, to BJ, to everybody else that I'm learning to know. Those who are anonymous that were on YouTube and Twitter and all that, you guys were sending stars. Thank you for supporting the show, because that's how the show keeps running. When you guys, send in 50 cents to $1, to keep everything running, because we got to pay bills so y'all can see. You did. Thanks to all the people who we run the commercials for, from James Butter, even all the way back to, my guy, the cell phone guy. You know what I'm saying? Just thank you for all those sponsors over the years. Thank you, guys. And of course, we've got plenty more things to come this year, and this summer is going to be jam-packed here in Coffee County and Tullahoma. But what's important right now, tis the season. Tis the season to be voting. Y'all know how it is, man. Y'all know ever since I moved back here, when it was voting season, I was on y'all's tails about voting. I'm talking about the court circuit. We're talking about chiefs. We're talking about sheriffs. We're talking about mayors. We're talking about aldermen. Some of these seats are about to be up here, and I just want to encourage everybody to keep their third eye open. These are your two eyes, what you see with, but your third eye is what's in between your head, that brain. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you vet these people. Make sure that you ask honest questions, and you get them to answer honest answers. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about here at Royce's Rant, man. And that's a great segue to what's going on right now. I do have a special guest here with me this evening, and we've actually been speaking off and on at the cusp of 2021 into 2022. Making sure we got all our schedules right, and we were able to meet at an appropriate time. Appreciate you, BJ. Appreciate you, Jamie, for the stars and everything. Thank y'all for watching. So we do have a special guest, and like I said, 'tis the season to be voting. You feel me? And I actually have a guest who was actually, elated to be on this show. He reached out to me, and he's going to be running for something. And you know what? This guy's going to be running for the sheriff of Coffee County. All right. And I'm going to let him explain that a little bit more. So without further ado, everybody, please welcome in Chief Investigator Brandon Tomberlin. What's good, my man?
How you doing, sir?
All right. Pretty good, man. Happy belated Easter.
Yes, sir. You too. I hope you had a wonderful time.
Oh, man. It's good. I still got leftovers in the fridge, like I was saying before. You know what I mean?
Same here.
Now look, I'm gonna keep it real in there. I make sure I spell it. Sometimes I have a hard time spelling sheriff, but it is one R and two F's, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, look, they just gonna get it real rap brown here, man. I'll be struggling sometimes. I'm like, man, is it two R's and one F, or one R and two F's? But I had to look that one up, so y'all don't laugh at me. It's all good. We live and learn. All right. But welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you, reaching out and just being inquisitive about how we do things here and stuff, and how we do things here, man. We try to keep it real. No, we do keep it real. We speak our thoughts or we lose our minds, and that's the motto here on this show. And I want to give you an opportunity, to speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And first off, man, how about you just give everybody just an introduction to who you are personally, and who you are to this community right now.
Yes, sir, Royce. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. First of all, I'm glad that me and you connected and are able to sit down tonight and just go over some questions that people might have or that you may have and do my best to answer those questions for you. But first of all, I'm Brandon Tomberlin. I was born and raised in Coffee County, Tennessee. I started my law enforcement career in 1998 with the Manchester Police Department. I was fortunate enough to work my way through the ranks there to corporal, a patrol supervisor. Uh, in 2006, I answered a higher call to duty for our country. I left the police department, went to work for the U.S. State Department in Iraq, training Iraqi police officers. Shortly after that, I took a job with the State Department again in Afghanistan, working 2 years training the Afghanistan police and working side by side with the Italians, the Afghani police, multiple different countries that push people in to help try to make those Iraq and Afghanistan better than what they were and provide security to those countries. I was able to assist in Iraq on standing up a 1,200 man quick reaction force in the Babylon region of that country. Very proud of that accomplishment, working with several U.S. military units in that environment. After I came back from there, I took a job with the United Nations, which is one of the most unique jobs of my life,
Mm-hmm.
and probably is a changing point in my life. I went to work with the United Nations and I found myself in Haiti, living on the economy, working with the Haitian police for a short period of time, training them, and then found myself working on a contingent on equipment inspection team, which real quickly and briefly, that's a team that allots funds and approves a budget from specifically the U.S. coming into Haiti on contingent on equipment and trying to provide the Haitian people with the best security that they could have and it was a moment in my life where um, I truly grew as a person, not a law enforcement, well, as a law enforcement officer as well, but as a person and humanity, and trying to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after coming back from that, I ended up back at the Manchester Police Department as a patrol officer. I was fortunate enough to be promoted into investigations fairly quickly, and about 2 years ago, the chief investigator took another job, and I was fortunate enough to be selected and appointed to the chief investigator of the Manchester Police Department, where I currently hold a position there and work diligently for the citizens of Manchester.
Well, there you have it, right there. That's all in a nutshell, man. It's safe to say, man, that you are heavily experienced, man. Just dealing with people, and then in these life or death situations. So it seems to me, it's only right to be in the field that you're in right now. Which kind of brings to this question. First, I want to say thank you for your service. I'm a military kid myself. Not in the military, but I was the only one that didn't go out of my family. You know what I'm saying? So I'm part of the family. So I'm definitely, I've always had respect, for the military. Both of my fathers, well, one of my fathers, my brothers, my nephews were all military. Both of my fathers were actually in the police force after that. My father worked here at the base, and then my stepfather was a former detective out there in Vanderbilt off in Nashville. So definitely has
And
some.
Royce, let me give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
I did work for the State Department and the Department of Defense, although I was not attached to a military unit. I was attached to them, working with them as an advisor.
Got you.
My father is retired from the U.S. Army. My brother is currently a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army, and I have a huge respect for those guys. But as far as enlisted in the military, I can't claim that thing. So
I got you. Good fact check. Good fact check. But we all in we all in the same family. You know what I'm saying?
yes,
We
sir.
all get it, man. Definitely. First, I want to say thank you, BJ, Jimmy Moorhead, Amber Vasquez. I think she recently got married, I believe. Thank you guys for the stars and everything. Jennifer Kilgore, thank you for the stars. BJ says share, folks, and ask questions. Amazing opportunity to ask questions and get answers. All right. And speaking of questions, man. So chief investigator, right? Like what does that consist of? Like, what is a chief investigator? Just for those who may not know, like, what does that consist of? What's the job?
So quickly, it's in my situation, it's myself and four other investigators, and my job is just to manage the workload, make assignments, make case assignments, and also form a continuity between those guys where that they work well together to provide the best public safety for our community, and Royce, I mean, those guys are great. I've been able to do what I've been able to do because of the guys that work for me. I have to give credit where credit's due. I have four of the greatest investigators in this county, in my opinion, that are just there to serve the citizens of Manchester. And but with that being said, we look over each other's work, and it's not a who's better than who. It's a we want to do the best that we can, and it takes all of us. And I assign cases out from simple misdemeanors to violent felonies, and try to manage not only their caseloads but assist them in those cases and presenting those cases to the court system and testifying in those courts to bring justice if needed.
Got you. And so you've been in that field for how long? Since when?
For about 2 years, a little over 2 years,
Got you. Got you.
as the
Got you.
chief investigator.
Got you. So whenever I hear the word like investigator, right? I mean, I automatically start going back to like CSI. You know what I mean? In the heat of the night. Is it anything like that? Like, if is it anything like that? Is it anything like what we see on TV? I know TV, art imitates life. So does that kind of depict of some of the things that you investigate? Is it like detective? Is that like a investigator slash detective? What's the difference in those?
So I don't want to take any ratings away from CSI Miami, but it is the same process, but the wheels do not spin as quickly, if that makes sense. There's a lot more time. There's things don't develop as quickly in real life as they do on TV per se.
I
But it,
dig it.
it is. I mean, I get calls at 2 in the morning, and when you've got that job and that's your responsibility, you answer that phone, you get up and go. And I said, hey, I got it. Like I said earlier, I give credit where credit's due. There's a lot of great officers in this entire county
Mm.
that would give all for public safety and do the best that they can daily to provide safety for this county.
Mm. So within these 2 years that you've been here, I guess I would like to say, like, what was your inspiration? Because I know you before you were doing this, of course, you were telling us some of the work you were doing, but like as far as just being an investigator, chief investigator, like, what inspired you to do such things like that?
So, like I said earlier, a little over 2 years ago, the chief investigator that was in place, he took a job at another location,
Mm.
and in my career, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that when I started being a police officer, my goal was to be the chief of police or the sheriff
All
of the
right,
county.
there you go.
That all changed for me once I um, started having a bigger desire for more than just law enforcement, but for a community as well. And I felt like going in and having that position as the chief investigator for the city of Manchester, that I could provide experience and also comfort to victims of crimes, and just be able to relate to them and be a part of the community. And here's the fact, Royce. If you don't know people,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't help them.
Mm.
And I've sat down in front of victims. I've sat down in front of violent offenders, and I've got the same mindset going into each of them. They're human beings, and they've got a story. I just need to hear it.
Mm.
So I just feel like the way I relate to people,
Uh-huh.
and the different. I met a young boy. I'm gonna take you back to a story in Haiti. I met a young boy in
Okay.
Haiti. His name's Sam.
All right.
A huge inspiration in my life. This young man was 10 years old. He didn't know where his next meal was coming from. He didn't know if he would get to go to school, but he would come and talk to me every day. And me and him made a pact. We were going to be friends forever. He's a friend of mine on Facebook. If you follow me, you'll find Sam. But that kid knew 4 languages, and he was committed to teaching me Haitian Creole, which I mean, at that time I was 32 years old. I'm thinking I can't learn a foreign language, but
Yeah.
the fact of it is the language being spoken in Haiti, Haitian Creole is their native language, and everybody was speaking French, which French is a language. He spoke
Okay.
French, he spoke Spanish, English, and Haitian Creole.
Gotcha.
And so he said, I want to teach you Haitian Creole because you'll get more respect if you can connect with people. If you can connect with people as an American, if you can connect with the Haitian people, you'll get more respect that way. So I said, sure, Sam, I want you to, when you come see me, you bring me a lesson every day. Well, I come to find out that shortly after knowing him, that school in Haiti wasn't free. So my gift to him was, I'm going to pay for your education, for your elementary education, and I want you to teach me Haitian Creole. So man, we sat and we studied and we talked, and he met with me every day. He would walk around town with me, and it finally got to where he would only speak to me in that language. And his desire to connect with me and to give me that ability to connect with the people in Haiti. Let me tell you, when I could speak Haitian Creole, they didn't want to talk to anybody else. It was an amazing feeling to have that accomplishment and that connection with people. And that's what I want to go back to. Just back to your question. I feel like I can connect to people no matter where they're from, what their background is, what they're involved in. We deal with people in the harshest of situations at times, and just through love and connectivity, I just feel like I'm that person that can lead a group of people into relating to a community.
Okay. So look, so I got to put your card on the language. Then like, you got to say something to us in that language.
Okay, so
Give us something.
bonsoir, comment vous êtes? Parlez doucement parce que mon créole pas bon.
Something about Creole and Grey Poupon.
Well, you got to speak slowly because my Creole is no longer good.
Ah.
So it's been
Okay.
10 years. If you don't use something, Royce, you lose it. You know what I mean?
Hey, the first word was enough for me already. You know what I
So,
mean?
so bonsoir is good afternoon in Haitian Creole. In French, if you speak French in Haiti, which they would say bonjour, which bonjour is good morning,
I know that.
but also good afternoon. But in Haitian Creole, bonjour is good morning before lunch. Bonsoir is after lunch, and that's the greeting. So,
Okay.
sac passe, you've heard that. That's in a song. Sac
I
passe.
have heard that. Yep.
That's like,
Okay.
what's up, Royce?
Look at it. All right, man. Don't make me put on some music, man. We're gonna spit some bars in here, man. Hey, shout out to Brian Eldridge, Trey Adcock, Roxanne Springfield. Thank y'all for the stars. Thank y'all for supporting, man. And so cool. So you already kind of giving me the segues and stuff anyway, man. So let me ask you this. Just we're staying within this position here. What has been? Can you account maybe one of the most since you've been a chief investigator? Can you give us like maybe some of the difficulties of being in your position, if any?
Well, with growth, crimes increase, and there's difficulties with resources at times. We do have resources that sometimes put constraints on us, and budgets that put constraints on us, but trying to put we will always push through those. But one of the most difficult situations, I mean, on a personal level, we can get through the other things, but for me, are death notifications. I mean, just to be quite frank with you, death notifications, and a lot of times, Royce, these are young folks that we need to find hope and a resolution for our future, our the next generation coming up. I never like doing those. It's the worst part of my job. And if asking me a difficult situation, those are always it. There's never a good explanation. There's never, in those moments, I'm the bearer of the worst news that a parent or a grandparent or a husband or a wife can receive, or even a child. So.
I got you. And so during this COVID, man, these last 2 years, have you seen like an increase in the crime since this whole pandemic has been in full force?
We have seen an increase, but I would relate that more to growth. I mean, we've got a mega migration in Coffee County.
Yeah, how fast is, man? Because I know we just reached around 20,000 here in Tullahoma. What's like the population in Manchester?
So I don't recall that. I think around 12,000 is the last census, but now you're talking in Coffee County around 54,000.
Yeah,
for the county. But that is increasing daily, and with the interstate ramps and the exits that we got coming through with 24, it doesn't. We're not inviting crime. We will do our best to deter it, but we obviously have those roads that come through and come in and out of our cities, Manchester and Tullahoma. 41A. It's a major route, and with population and growth comes more crime. But
and so I actually have a question off of that. So when we're talking about crime, has there been any type of brainstorm? Because you had mentioned just a few sentences ago, you were speaking about knowing the people, or getting to know them, being familiar with the people. And I know we might have talked about this before, but and which I do agree. I do agree that knowing your community, I would say I believe that it helps, because in a sense it's just like, for example, right? Little Jack, you know what I'm saying? He a little bad dude, around the neighborhood, and then just say the police come through and just holler at him. It's like, hey, what's up, man? What's your name? How you doing? Da da da. Oh, well, my name is, Bad Jack. Bad Jack. Oh, okay, man. Well, we're gonna see if we can change that name into something. Just developing a relationship. So if Bad Jack may think about doing something later on in the future, and he sees Tomberlin roll up, he gonna maybe think twice. Not because you are a part of the police, the authority, the law enforcement, but it's just the fact that this person knows you. He got to know you, and he hates to disappoint you on a personal level. Because and that's one thing that I've really try to advocate, even here in Tullahoma. To me, I don't care how small it is. Actually, the smaller the town, actually, kind of the better. To get to know the people. Is that something that you do encourage? You know what I'm saying? With your constituents to get to know their community more, instead of just looking at it as just a job.
Absolutely. We can't just sit out here and say we're going to sit out here and want to be left alone, Royce. We have to be out and engaged in our community. We have to be. I'm fortunate. I have two. Let me go back and say I've got a wonderful wife that supports me tremendously throughout this political campaign, and two wonderful children that are engaged in sports in Coffee County, and I know, I try to attend sporting events, I try to attend charitable events, I try to and I've done it for as long as I've known, just to get to know people, because like you said, little Johnny, he might be thinking about doing something, but in the back of his mind, if he thinks, hey, even for you, I mean, if he thinks I don't want to disappoint Royce, that's a win.
Right.
That's a win. Not just Brandon, not just a law enforcement officer, but if he don't want to disappoint you because you've been engaged with him, or me because I've been engaged with him, or any other law enforcement officer that's been engaged in him, what we need to focus on and what we need to do is be involved in our communities, in our county. And when I say communities, I'm not talking about Manchester and I'm talking about Manchester, Tullahoma, and Coffee County.
Gotcha.
Coffee County 1. And be transparent. Look, people want to know what's going on in law enforcement. They want to know what's going on in their communities. They want to be made aware. They don't want to have to find it out 3 days later on on the 10 o'clock news about something going on in their community. And if we can do that, and we can work and on the note of that, deterring crime or helping prevent crime, those two factors right there are very important. And as long as we get the and just without watering it down, hey, as we grow, the county commission to provide public safety, they have to be able to provide us with the funds to expand and to provide that. And I think those people want that. I think they want public safety. I think they want my kids and your kids and the children in Tullahoma and Manchester to be safe and prosper. So there's just, I am proud to say at Manchester, we hold one of the highest solvability rates in the state as a police department, as an agency, which I'm super proud of. And that is not on me. That is on all the guys that work there. They work super hard, and they're involved. They're going to community events. They know people in the community. And if we can do that in our entire county, then I'll promise you, Royce, we'll be successful in saving somebody's life.
I dig that. So, and actually, Miss Moorhead, that's actually a question I want to ask. But I'm not gonna put that up there yet because she's gonna make me feel like I'm behind on my. Hey. But and then BJ, I'll come to your question too. I'll look at that as like a side note or whatnot. But I'm coming back to your question, BJ. We'll put that in a minute. Thank y'all for still. Please feel free to just type in the questions. Something to add to it once we get through with our thing here. Answer some questions from you guys, since you already have like 2 or 3 of them. So. Let's get down to the nitty gritty, man. So we got like a proper introduction of who you are and where you're from and what you've done and the position that you're in right now, and just some of your views on the community. And so, as we all know, man, it's voting season, man. It's voting season, and if I'm correct, you are running for sheriff here in Coffee County.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. So, I mean, the obvious question would be, why? What made you decide? What made you say, I'm doing good with this chief of investigation and all that, but I feel like I can do more being sheriff. Like, how was that thought process, and what made you think about that?
So I've got to go back in time to May.
All right, please do.
May of 2013. I was back from Haiti. Just been back from Haiti for a short time. Me and my family had gone out to eat dinner at a local restaurant. We were sitting in the restaurant and we got a phone call from our neighbor. Now, we live a fairly good distance off the road. So when the neighbor called and said, hey, your house is burning and we've called the fire department, I knew for them to see it, it had to be fairly severe. So, the law-abiding citizen I eased home right there at the speed limit. and I pulled up and fully engulfed home. My family lost everything that we owned, except for the clothes that were on our back and what was in our detached garage. And before the fire department could not get the fire trucks out once they had the fire out because of the community. Had my driveway's a half mile long and my driveway was full of friends and family and community members. My children had toothbrushes and clothes before the fire was out. And emotions were high, and it was a tough time. It was a hard pill to swallow. And we thought, how are we going to recover from this? But me and my wife, I remember after that, after it was over and everybody had left, I looked at her and I said, Angie, um, I'm committed to this community. I'm committed to this county, and I will give back what I have been given right here. And I really feel like that's the fire inside of me. The way the county showed up and supported me, not just in a time of of crime, but in a time of a disaster to my family. Um, and I will always work hard and encourage the people that work for me to be empathetic, to just let empathy and compassion guide you, which I feel like is what happened to me that night. Is when those people showed up, man, it took somebody that was mad. You know, I was mad and I didn't know what had happened and I didn't know what was going on, to just heartbroken that people cared that much to show up and just think about, hey, my kids needed toothbrush, they needed some clothes, they needed some pajamas to sleep in that night. And I will never forget that. And I don't know who all was out there, but if you were out there, thank you so much. It meant so much to me, and that moment changed my life, and I owe it to this community.
Nice, nice, nice. So when it comes to this here now, if I'm correct, I think Manchester, they're like partisan there. It's almost like you got to pick a side when it comes to politics or running for something, right?
That's right.
And something that something that surprised me, especially in this county, when you had told me how you were running, you're running neither what they consider left or right. You are running independent, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Now that's one thing that kind of struck me here because the last year that I've been here, when I moved back here over a year ago, it was such a big deal when I came down here. They were asking me, "What side you on? Are you conservative or are you liberal?" I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Well, I'm just me, man. As anything, I consider myself purple. Like, I see both sides. Like, hey, look, that makes sense. This makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Why can't we go with what makes sense together? You know what I mean? You can still have your differences, but it's just like it seems like now these days in this partisan world that we're in, luckily Tullahoma is nonpartisan, but overall in this partisan world that we live in, it kind of puts a lot of pressure on us as individuals. It almost seems like that we have to cater to a specific group outside of our own thoughts and our ideas. What made you I don't want to say dig up that courage, but yeah, what made you dig up that courage just to go independent?
Well, Royce, I've got to say I prayed about this a lot because the initial reaction is of the majority of people, specifically, like you say, if you don't run Republican, you can't win. But and I thought about my personal values and where they lie, but I thought about the role of the sheriff, and that role is for the people. It's to be your sheriff. It doesn't matter what party line you align with or who you are. When you sit down in front um, of me and you want to have a discussion with me, like you said earlier, let's bring it together. Let's sit down and let's have those conversations. Let's figure out what's best for everyone, not just what's best for one side or the other. And I wanted to be able to be me. I wanted to be able to run my own campaign. I wanted to be able to sit down and tell people who I am, to tell people about what I think, and these are my ideas. But to also be able to say, but I want to hear you. I want to know what you think. I want to be able to hear your input, and I want to process it, and I want hey, if anybody sits here and tells you in this campaign that they know it all, you better back up, think twice, because because it takes all of us, and it will take all of us, Coffee County, Tullahoma, and Manchester, to come together and provide the best public safety that we can for the next generation.
And good. And actually, uh, you, I actually want to oh, good hand clap from Roxanne. I actually you actually kind of opened up something for me, to speak about. One thing I can say is that I do. I'm independent myself. I consider myself to be independent. I was like on the liberal side, And really, if I'm just keeping it real, like this, I'm just gonna keep it real with you. Like I was liberal. I was on the left side because, well, hey, that's just where most black people voted. They just voted Democrat, right? And I've got a bunch of conservative friends on the right. Pretty hardcore. I ain't gonna say I have associates, but I've met people who are like alt right, and they're just whatever. But I do appreciate the independent route, even here at Royce's Rant and what my team does, because like you said, you don't have to deal with much bureaucracy. You don't have to deal with somebody telling you what to do that may not know or engulf the love of the plan you may have for the people as you do. You have a chance to select a team of people who support you and have the same ideals as you. And you're not held up to any party. You're not being pulled this way, this way. I thought independent was the best. That's the reason why we have Independence Day. Like when you think about that word, independent. So why is there this left and right and up and down and in the middle and slight 30 degrees to the right here? I never understood that. I always just thought that when it comes to government and politics, I really feel like it should just be easy. I mean, it's power to the people. It's we the people. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere along the line, I felt like they fill in some more spots, but I do appreciate that independent route that you're taking. But I also know that it's going to be difficult too, because sometimes on the left and right, they already got funds set up. They've been saving up for years. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
So, so, explain to me. And actually, this is I'm actually going to take one of the questions from. Let me go with the first one here. Well, let me go with. Let's go with Jamie Moorhead's, where she says if we decide to vote for you, what should the citizens of Coffee County expect during your term as sheriff? Thank you, Jamie.
yeah, Jamie. Thank you. That's a great question. Jamie, I want to let you know and everyone else know that you will see me and you will hear from me, and I will listen to you. I want you to be able to, and I want every citizen of this county to feel comfortable coming in the sheriff's department and saying, I'd like to talk to Brandon. I want you to know my first name is Brandon, and I will not be the sheriff. I will be your sheriff. And I want you to know that, I, like I said, I can't express it enough that you'll see me, you'll hear from me, and I will listen to you.
All right, you heard that, Jamie. All right, she gonna tell all the people. She gonna tell all her friends. Hey, Tomlin said he gonna listen to you.
That's
I
right.
mean,
Tell them.
do you have anything planned as far as coming down to Tullahoma
Yeah,
and shoot it with the
I
people?
have been talking with a couple people about having a few events over there, trying to coordinate that. There's the primary going on now, so kind of
Mm-hmm.
letting that get settled out, and then having an event over there. And I'll be sure to reach out to you, Royce, if you could get that out to as many people as possible. I'll have it on my Facebook page, and we'll announce it. And love to have everybody come out and join us for that. And just chat and enjoy a good afternoon.
Definitely, because I know like this. One thing I've learned from like my listeners and stuff like that. I don't know if they've already been that way or we just kind of grew together, but it's like they love them some transparency. They love for you to keep it 100 is what we say. So here's an off the wall question. I ain't gonna say off the wall, but this is from my guy BJ Anderson, man, and he wanted to know just your views. He said views on marijuana legalization and hard drug rehabilitation instead of jailing for those who want it. Yeah, it's two questions too. What are your views on training for dealing with mental health incidents for LEOs? Does that make sense to
Oh,
you?
yes. A lot of
We'll leave it up there.
yeah, a lot of questions in those two sentences. But my view on marijuana legalization, there's a lot going on in legislation right now with that. Whatever they do there, I will support. Let's just be honest. Marijuana is not the dangerous drug that we 20 years ago may have thought that it was, but it is still not a legal drug, and I have taken an oath to enforce the laws of the state and this country. So, and I will do that unless that is changed. Um, Now, hard drug rehabilitation. I've been involved in um, a lot of that. I have worked with several different. I really don't want to call them out by name or even the organization that they attended. But I've got friends, I've got family. If you think that this stuff doesn't affect you, then you're sadly mistaken. I've got friends and family that struggle daily with methamphetamines and heroin. And my desire is to see them overcome that beast and do better. And I have uh, done the best that I could on identifying those folks that truly wanted the help and tried to not only not hold their hand, but walk them to a place where they could find some um, help so that they could get on the right track. And I'm 100% for rehabilitation when it comes to drugs, because it's destroying so many lives, not just the drug user or the drug dealer, but families and friends and relationships. And if somebody's like the part of your question says for those who want it,
Mm-hmm.
and those are the ones that we really need to focus on and try to give those resources to. My views on training for dealing with mental health incidents for LEOs. I'm a member of the TECP, the Tennessee Association of Chiefs of Police, and this has been a major issue. We have discussed several different avenues. There's a lot of things that are in the works right now for in making or helping inform officers on mental health incident responses. There's also programs such as co-responders where mental health experts respond with law enforcement. And a lot of those are in a trial basis right now. We're working to figure out what works best for the patient. And if we can identify that, if it's a co-responder program or just uh, educating our on the boots on the ground guys a little bit more about mental health and the struggles with that, hey, I'm all for it. It helps our society, and it's just mental health's not a crime. It's and it shouldn't be treated as one. So we definitely need to do a better job at that. And I feel like we're working in the right direction.
I dig that, and it's interesting because I recently did a TED talk couple of weeks ago with a couple of our Tullahoma constituents, and shout out to Robin Dunn for having us. And surprisingly, a lot of the men that spoke, it had something to do with mental health. Including myself,
Sure.
dealing with sexual assault. And how I dealt with that mentally as a child and how it affects me as an adult. Um, you know, um, I think at times we kind of overlook that, especially from a man's perspective. As far as a man, people think that we're supposed to be strong. We ain't got no feelings. Ain't supposed to cry, suck it up. But sometimes at night we go and cry in the car. You know what I mean? And we don't feel like we could talk to anybody about something, and we just end up just blowing up. You know, shoot. I mean, that's what happened to me. The first time
Sure.
I ever went to jail was because I held everything in. And I realized that wasn't good for me. I needed to express myself. I needed to talk to somebody.
Sure.
Because it could have been worse.
Sure. And what we found out in law enforcement is that mental health don't only affect, we it affects police officers as well, and we need to be taking care of the
Mm-hmm.
community and ourselves. You know, it's really something that we need to be paying close attention to and doing the best we can for anyone that's involved in that situation.
It's funny you say that because I was speaking with an officer in Murfreesboro. He was on the show about 2 years ago, and he was just showing me just on a website, police website. It was showing how many police suicides there were in 2020 and 2021. I believe in 2021, and when we had them, that might have been 2020. In 2019, 2020, there were 225 police suicides alone. And nothing against anybody as far as other citizens and stuff like that going through things, but like we also have to look at it from both sides.
Sure.
I think it's crazy. Like watching my fathers do what they've done and coming back home and still trying to be a father after dealing with a bunch of mess, handling the public, you gotta wear two different hats. You gotta put a cape on in the streets, and you gotta put the cape on at home, and you have to balance those smiles and cries. How has
Sure.
that been for you coming from the street to the crib like that? Did you have to adjust? Or was it just the same all the way through?
Oh man, it takes definitely an adjustment. I mean, from going from working the streets here in Manchester to Baghdad to Afghanistan to Haiti and then back, it's definitely an adjustment. I lost one of my best friends to suicide
Mm,
uh, re, not long ago, and we his family, his wife, has been really involved in creating awareness, and we're actually doing our second suicide awareness walk here in Manchester. So I'd like to invite anyone that wanted to participate in that or be involved in that. It's a great event. It raises awareness. I don't have all the details, and I apologize. I didn't expect us to get here, but it's just very close to my heart, and I have a tremendous concern and passion for the guys that work for me. Um, Not only work for me, all the guys that are in law enforcement. Just stay healthy and talk to someone. And now I've got off on the law enforcement side of mental health, but hey, it goes for
yeah, yeah,
civilians too,
yeah.
Royce. I mean, if someone's having thoughts or thinking things, man, a police officer, he's there. He'll talk to you. Just give him a call. It's about communication and relationships. I mean, there we go, right back to it. Building community relations where people feel like they can reach out to you and have that conversation.
Definitely. Moni Lundquist says, "What makes sense together?" Brandon Tomberlin for Manchester Sheriff. B.J. Anderson says, "A two-party system doesn't work. People shouldn't vote just by that R or D beside the name, but the actual person and the values they show." I hear that, B.J. And
Yes,
I do
sir.
have another question. Okay, Brian said okay. So a question from Jamie Moore. She said, "Do you think?" She stole my question. Do you think having a more diverse team would help with building? And I'm gonna build off of that too. Do you think having a more diverse team would help with building a better relationship with the community? If yes, how do you plan on making that change happen?
Well, of course, a more diverse team helps with building relationships. Um, there's things that I've lived, through my uh, life of college, I guess you could say, my that I've learned and things that I can address. That, hey, I mean, Royce, if me and you're walking side by side, there's no doubt you can address things that I can't address, um, and or relate to things that I can't maybe relate to. So absolutely, diversity is huge. Is a huge part of community relations and success. And as the sheriff, as looking at, I would like to nip a little rumor in the butt fairly quickly. There's been some rumor
Okay.
that I planned on going to the sheriff's department and cleaning house. That's not true. There are very good deputies that work at the Coffee County Sheriff's Department and that do a very good job of what they do on a daily basis. And there is quite a bit of diversity currently there. Now, what we need to do is utilize it. What we need to do is be out walking arm in arm. What we need to do is be out involved and engaged in the community. Um, and that's how I plan. That's how I plan on making it happen.
Dig that. BJ Anderson said PTSD is real for any situation. We military people kind of took that label over with the GWOT, but anyone can develop PTSD from trauma. Some things people are just not meant to see or be exposed to, and that's what's up. BJ, thank you. And so I've got a question. Since just the way you're talking is really helping me. Just adding on some more stuff, and so I'm just kind of going off the whim here. So when we're speaking about If we say we are speaking about diversity, I would like to touch up on that real quick. And so you're right. I have to agree because, and I'm gonna keep it real on the senses on the surface, and then I'm gonna keep it real as just a certain lingo of how I'm gonna talk. So first, let's clear the elephant out of the room. There are citizens who look at it as black people, white people. They look at police here in Coffee County as all these white people have something against these black people. Oh, there's a stigma. That's the word I'm trying to say. There's a stigma with black citizens. There's a stigma with also people in lower incomes who are engulfed in that culture with the authorities. Why do you think that's so?
I think that's probably brought in from just so many years of police work, predominantly being white people, white males. But anyone that has that thought process, I encourage you to come see me and my best friend, one of my best friends that I work with every day. I would love to introduce you to him. He is an amazing investigator. I would go through thick and thin with him, and I know he would do the same with me. He is my brother. He is, and here's the thing, I've got a unique experience. I mean, I lived in other countries for 4 years. I lived in Haiti on the economy. I rented a house, and I lived where I can't relate to, I can't relate to everything, but somewhat. I mean, I do feel like somewhat in Haiti, I was a minority. I was the blanc, the white guy.
There you go.
We just have to be. Humanity is more valuable than anything, and we have to work together. I have such a good relationship with those guys that I work with, and I just don't think about when I go into the office about who's white and who's black. I mean, I know they are. I know it is what it is, but
Right.
but it doesn't affect our day. It doesn't affect our work. It doesn't affect our. I mean, please come see us. I will show you what one of the best relationships between a white man and a black man is. I mean, he is my friend. He is my brother. We relate to people well. We can sit down and have a great conversation about how we need to handle a situation this way or this situation this way, depending on who's involved. But come see us. I will, and my goal is to implement that into every aspect of law enforcement within the Coffee County Sheriff's Department that I can.
Cool. Yeah. And I hope you didn't think I was trying to put you in a hot seat, but I was at the same time.
No, that's fine.
Yeah,
No.
because a lot of this comes from the people, and
Sure.
I'm the people too. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I would think those things sometimes. You know what I mean? But if I were to be honest about my experiences with the police, I don't think I've had any incident with the police where it had to do with something stereotypical. I mean, it was definitely, I had to hold myself accountable for, the things that I've done in my past. You know what I'm saying? I can't say that I've ever looked at it like that for me. Can I say have I looked at it like that from other people? On an individual status, probably yes. And I think that's where the stigma is created, especially in smaller areas where the ratio may be a little different. So if one person does something to somebody, right, they look at that one person as the rest of the force, just
That's
because
right.
of that ratio, and they think everybody else is like that. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, I've this is my alma mater. This is where I grew up. This is where I went to high school and graduated. And people I went to school, with are, are in jail. Some of them have passed away, or some of them are, out of the way. But what you didn't mention too before, so we have a crazy drug problem here in the county. I've seen the numbers increase, especially like with overdoses. You know, it's really hurt my heart. I've actually lost a couple of friends to overdoses and things like that. Would you say that what you were speaking on, as far as like mental health and all these other programs, is that something that the force is a part of, or they help develop? You know, winging people off of stuff like that, because it. And no, let me ask a better question. When it comes to, and this is a question for myself, as far as the county jail, the sheriff runs the county jail. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So let me ask this. In in my studies and just in my experience, I always thought jail was supposed to be about reformation. You know, you get in, you do your time, and hopefully you'll come out a better person, and seek for opportunities.
That should be our goal.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
I noticed you said a key word, should. Has Is that something that you plan to work on when it comes to people doing time, and then while they're there bettering themselves, so when they come out they can be a legal, law-abiding citizen, and you hope that you don't see them again? Or is there anything set up like that and can be set up?
So Royce, I'm glad you brought this up because this is a great topic to talk about, and I know we don't have maybe a lot of time left, but
No, you go ahead.
just real quick. So our county is in a very unique situation right now. We're going to have new circuit judges, new general sessions judges, and we do have program. There are programs in place. What we need to do is evaluate those programs, and we need to decide, are those programs actually working, or are they contributing to our reentry rates? If those programs aren't working, we need to be looking at some more model programs that are working. And me as the sheriff, if elected to sheriff of Coffee County, one of my main goals will be working with those new judges, and working with probation and parole, getting all the players involved and say, look, guys, what is our success rate here? If it's 20%, that's not good enough. That's not work. We need to look at a reentry into the workforce kind of program, get people back out, get people comfortable when they go out to do job interviews, comfortable with filling out a job application, maybe implement some classes on getting those two topics done, the job application and the interview process, and get these folks back working. Look, we can't let them out and put them on probation, expect them to pay the fines if they're not able to get a job when they get out. So then we're violating the probation, put them right back in. So, that's just an idea that I have. I would like to throw around with some of the judges and all the players that are involved in that. I know that is a successful program that some sheriff's departments are implementing, and so I look forward to that and seeing how we can, how we can help people and get them on the right track, get them started off on the right foot when they do come out of jail, if they're in there for a reason.
Well, yeah, we're definitely gonna keep our fingers crossed on that. So anybody that is watching, keep that note in your mind. Go back and reverse that to look at it. I think that would be great. And just I made up a bar myself. Like, we're trying to know the police, not in the cell, but after bail. Do you hear me? We're gonna say that again. We don't want to know the police from the cell. We want to know them after bail. In other
That's right.
words, we don't want to know you from what we've done to be in there. We want to know you because you've been out there as an officer, as a law enforcer, meeting the people. Because here's what some people will say. All right, now there's I don't want to call it a conspiracy, but like, I've heard plenty of conversations where people say, oh man, they just keep throwing people in jail, they're making money. It's big business in jail. I was like, well, yeah, there's big business in jail. They just keep throwing us in there so they can make money off of us, and blase blase, da 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 da. I'm like, okay. I'll say it like this. To me, I think that was it made sense to me for them to say that, because, to be honest, it does take money to house inmates in jail. Correct?
That's correct.
It does take, and in jail, I mean, we've seen the TV shows, but I've talked to plenty of officers, my dad and all them at one. We know what goes on in the jail. We know what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's the thing that kind of scares me a little bit because I've had family members, I've had friends that would come from the feds or from the state or from here in Coffee County, and nothing changes with
Right.
them. You know,
Right.
and even when they speak some of the officers' names that they know, I'm like, why do you know this person like this? Like, you didn't know him just from like at the bar or something like that, or y'all chilling at the restaurant. Oh no, man, that's officer something such and such, man. You mean that's the only time you see him is when you go to jail? All right. So that brought up the question, for many years in my mind. I'm like, I wonder what it is that officers are doing to be more a part of the community. I spoke with some officers at MTSU or Murfreesboro when we did our march up there in 2020, and they had this meeting place at Bistros or whatever, hang out there, and I got to speak with them, and they were saying the same thing. We're like, we are implementing a plan to where we're going to touch down in each ward, and they did speak about sending out certain officers, like because they're pretty diverse in Murfreesboro. They
Sure.
send certain officers out to certain neighborhoods that they may have grew up in because those citizens may be familiar with those officers. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I thought that was a good start. I hope they're still doing it because I ain't there no more. But I thought that would be a good thing here, and it would be easier to do here in Tullahoma or in Coffee County when we're dealing this micropolitan area. Pretty much everybody knows everybody. We play
Yeah.
sports
Sure.
together. We don't ran into each other, play AAU. You know what I mean? So I'm I'm really excited about what you have going, and I do, and other people that are on here, hope that what we say keep the same energy. BJ does say that cultural immersion is huge in working with the group. As a veteran myself, I can tell you that this man put in the work. If he was stationed in Haiti for that long, Bon Chan. Let me put that up there because he done said your language. Let me let you read it. Cultural immersion is huge.
Bonchons.
I don't know if that's a Haiti
Good.
thing.
Good. Good. It's good. Something good. Good man. Good man.
See, look, BJ don't put him on the spot. He don't put him on the
Yeah.
spot. You never
I
know what
said,
BJ knows.
uh,
You got to check him out.
parlez deux con passement creoles pas bon.
There you go. And see, and while we're doing this, I'm pretty sure that the captions going up on the live and then all that. But look, my man. So we're gonna close this up real quick. And yep, BJ said good luck. Let me make sure that I didn't miss any other comments
Thank
from
you,
the
BJ.
yeah, BJ. And I think well somebody said it. Thank you for something. Let me look there. What did that say? Okay, so they said something to change. I didn't know anything about the rumors. Okay, so she said I didn't know anything about the rumors. I think that is a standard rumor that happens during election to scare people from accepting the change. You never know. Anytime somebody's trying to make a move or make a change, that happens. And she also said thank you for answering the question. Great answer. She said so. I took that as leadership through relationship. And that's a nice bar right there, Miss Moret. I really do appreciate it. So as we close here, Mr. Tomberlin, is there anything you want to leave for the people? Any information that you want to give off that we could possibly, put here on a link once we get off the show here?
Well, sure. I mean, I will continue, however this election works out, to be a part of the community and work hard for the people. One of my goals is rebuilding stronger relationships with the agencies, our local agencies here, and continue to get them involved and work together to be involved in our communities. Hey, August 4th will be here soon, and I would humbly ask for your vote. I would appreciate the confidence, and I will. Again, I want to say I will. You'll hear from me, and you will see me, and I will listen to you.
And as y'all see it, of course, y'all saw his page there. He actually has a like page, and it says Brandon Tomberlin for Sheriff of Coffee County. Everybody, I want
Follow us, like
everybody.
us.
You
Yes.
already, you already know. You guys go out there, and check it out. Learn some more about them. Come through and rewatch the show. I'm pretty sure.
Come see me. Come see me. I'd love to
Yeah,
meet.
come.
I love to
Yeah,
meet everybody.
where are you located at? You
I'm
mentioned.
out Ragsdale Road in Coffee County.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but I'll have an event over there. We'll get it out. We'll follow us on our Facebook page. We'll get it out, and you can. Hey, if you run into me, I'm always working my way around the square or somewhere here in Manchester, and uh, if you run into me, hey, flag me down. I'll be happy to talk to you.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Well, listen, everybody. So we're going to go ahead and close here, and Mr. Tomberlin, we do appreciate the time that you've given us. We definitely wish you, all the best, and hope you continue, rather win, lose, or draw, to still be a service to the community, like you've been doing. It's been a pleasure just listening to some of your ideas and your ideologies on things, and just, how you see this community. And I would like to say I definitely applaud the independent route. I'm an advocate for independent, making your own moves and standing on your 10 toes, you know what I'm saying, under God, And if you don't mind, he's gonna solo me out here, but if you can just stay in the box a little bit, he's gonna keep you in the green room, and then when we get done, just want to send you a farewell and whatnot off the record or whatnot. But I do appreciate the time you have given us here in this hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Brandon Tomberlin. He's the Chief Investigator in Manchester, and he's running for Coffee County Sheriff. This title is A Run for Sheriff with Brandon Tomberlin, you guys. All right, so Mr. Tomberlin, we're going to set you back in the back real quick, and I'm going to go in and close out to the people.
Thank you, Royce. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, no problem, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you guys for sticking with us. I mean, you guys kept it in the 20s and stuff up there, just watching and looking and listening. I know a lot of you guys are out there in Manchester looking at, so how y'all doing? Some of y'all may remember me from playing ball and track and stuff like that. Royce Massengill here. Shout out to all the Manchester people that I know there. Shout out to Moni or Moni. I want to say Moni. Moni, I'm thinking it might be Moni. Moni Lundquist. It might be Moni. Moni has two N's. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's Moni Lundquist. All right, I appreciate that. Thank you guys for sharing. Thank you guys for the stars and stuff like that. Thank you for supporting this show. And you guys, like I said, it's voting season. It ain't over yet. It ain't over till it's over. You guys make sure you research everyone. Make sure you vet them properly, and make sure they get to know you. You know what I mean? I do invite anybody else, to come on the show and say what they need to say. This is an open ground right here. This is a neutral ground. And I just hope you're able, hope you guys are able to do what's right for the community, because the people need it more than anything. Thank you, Trey. Great interview, Royce. Nice to hear from a level-headed candidate already. That's what's up. And I do want to just speak to the people real quick and say how important voting is. I got in y'all's asses about 2 years ago when we were marching down here in Tullahoma, and I was talking to the people about the lack of voting here that's in Tullahoma. And because of that, there's a lot of complaining going on. And hopefully we learned our lesson to know how important voting is, especially in this smaller town where we can actually reach out and touch the people. I want people to realize how much power they have in a vote, right? A vote is worth money when you think about it. We're thinking about taxes, we're thinking about endorsements, and we're thinking about the future of your county and the kids, you got to start thinking about stuff like that. A vote really counts, not for today, but it counts for tomorrow, for when we may not be here. So it's very important. So shout out to Brian Eldridge. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to close out here. I'm your boy, Royce the Voice, Orange Click, Orange Leader. Shout out to K-Team. Speak your thoughts or lose your mind. And we out.